without question.
Mine too, man.
I love to see, and I especially love it when it's ran when a tackle pulls, because I don't know, I just
drop easy, drop easy, right there, easy, right there.
Well, that video clip is courtesy of Pat Benatar's "Hit Me with Your Best Shot." My gosh, every time I see that, my shoulder just aches a little
bit. Sam, I tell you, Jim, when it happened, I could feel it. I could feel the vibrations of the contact. Of course, I was pretty close, as you could see, but wow, what a hit!
Well, I think we got some guys that we want to talk to tonight. I'll say let's go ahead and bring on our first young fella. Well, Darius, what's up, buddy? Hey, Ladarius, can you hear us?
Uh-oh.
Technical difficulties, guys. Hey, Jamarcus, you might be on mute. If you can you hear us all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. I will leave it to the pros here. Coach Hales and Dale, I'm sure.
Jamarcus, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. Congrats on the win.
Appreciate it.
So what's that like, man? A big Allegheny Street rivalry like that? Well, how'd it feel?
It's great. It's a great experience to play the game that I love and actually have a reason to play for it. Like my coach told me, keep the trophy on our side. We kept the trophy on our side. We did our job and did what we had to do.
That's you right there, right?
Yes, sir.
A lineman and a running back and a lineman's body, Coach Hales.
It looks like Earl Campbell for a second.
Look at you, man. Wishbone offense. That's awesome. Have you guys been running wishbone for a long time?
Yeah, we started like the beginning of the season. Coach said we just gonna play hard-nosed football, do what we do best, and play physical.
And I don't know if you noticed, but like the year I grew up in, like wishbone football, that was big time. Like you'd have like Oklahoma and Nebraska, like the big time teams, and like they'd play some of these teams. They were putting up like 500-600 yards rushing a week in that thing.
Yes, sir.
Now, have you always played running back?
Yeah, I always play running back. Little league, all.
Go ahead, Dale.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, which do you prefer, between the tackles or outside the tackle with your run?
I like to be in between the tackle. I like to just run through somebody.
That's what I thought. Because I want to ask you one other question. Let's say you get pushed to the sideline, and you're about, I don't know, a couple of yards off the sideline. You're running down, and this cornerback kind of gets himself over in front of you. What are you doing? You going out of bounds or you going over it?
That's a bad day for that cornerback. I ain't gonna lie to
you. I love that answer. Now, as far as the game with Barry, now did you know a lot of kids on the team over at Barry? Like, are you guys familiar with each other like that?
Yeah, I know a couple of them. Couple of us went to the same school. Yeah, I know some of them. Yeah.
And was there a little bit of talk leading up to the game, or you guys getting after each other a little bit?
Yeah, we all talk smack on Instagram. You know how it be before the game, talk in pregame, but it all shows up on the field. What's really gonna happen when we getting them pads?
Now, do you think did the game go according to plan? Like, is that how you guys kind of thought it would go, especially offensively with you? 187 yards offense.
Yeah, but no, I feel like we should have really blew them out. We should have really played better than what we played in the first half, but second half, yeah, we did our thing.
I got you. Look at you guys. Just it almost looks like a rugby match with just all these bodies going forward like that. Now, how do you feel about it? And I know, a lot of these clips are you running the ball, but what about pass protection? Do you get involved in pass protection very much?
Yeah, I block somebody now.
Look at this, bouncing off people like a bowling ball out there.
Coach, I got to thinking, wouldn't he be a great fullback in an I formation?
He would, man. He would. You go back to the 1980s, early 1990s, we were getting in the eye, running ISO and power and things like that. But I tell you, he looked good in the one-back offense too. You know, we had a kid years ago by the name of Ryan Houston, and I think we invented the term BYOB, which is be your own blocker. And there were guys sometimes we didn't always get to the block, and we didn't have to worry about it with Ryan. And he was a kid. He's about 6'2", about 230, 240 running the ball. So he was a big dude.
Coach, Ryan's dad played at Harding.
He sure did.
You know, yeah, I imagine you knew that. So Jamarcus, I don't know if you know who Ryan Houston is, but his dad, Anthony Houston's who Anthony Houston is, his dad, whose nickname was Lizard, played quarterback there at Harding. I don't know if you've heard that name, but
yeah, he was. I believe he was actually inducted into y'all's Hall of Fame over there last spring, Liz Houston. But he played for a guy, the head football coach over at Harding at that time was a guy by the name of Tommy Knotts, and I don't know if you've heard that name before. Down at Dutch Fork High School in South Carolina, he was the head coach at Independence, where they won a bunch of state championships in a row. But what now? Tell me, besides playing running back, do you play defense too?
Yeah, D tackle.
D tackle and running back, no kidding.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, so 4th and goal, ball's on the 1 yard line. Would you rather be running the ball into the end zone, or would you rather be on defense having to stand up or running back?
I want to run the
game
ball.
with a goal line. You want to win the ball. You want to run the rock.
Yeah.
I got you. Go ahead, Dan.
Tell us about Coach Cunningham and how things might be different under him.
It's different. Coach, he really helps the players on the team with a lot of stuff. He got us through stuff. He don't just tell us to do nothing. He shows us how to do it. He helps us with a lot, man. Can't even explain how great of a guy Coach T is. He actually breaks everything down better for us to understand, and he's a great guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So Coach Hales made a great point to you that back in the day when I was a young man too, Oklahoma made this offense just famous. Oklahoma and Nebraska both, and in fact, one of the a player my senior year from East Mecklenburg went to Nebraska to play tackle out there, Coach, as because of his blocking skills and their running the wishbone. But my question to you, you've never seen this offense before this year, is that right?
Not against another team, no.
No, have you ever ran it?
Oh, yeah.
Was this your? Yes. You have ran the wishbone, okay. So it wasn't new to you. Where did you run this at?
I used to run this in like Little League football, middle school. I'm used to wishbone. It's hard-nosed football, so I'm used to it for real.
Okay.
Where did you play your youth football at? Who'd you play for?
The NC Giants.
NC Giants, man. I think I may have seen you guys play before. How were you guys? Who else played for you?
Quarterback at West Charlotte, receiver at West Charlotte. Really, the whole West Charlotte team for real.
You guys pretty good?
Yeah, we was pretty good.
Who's your big rival with the Giants?
I don't really say nobody. We used to just blow everybody out. We didn't really have a rival.
That's awesome.
Little thing about the wishbone, I don't know if many people know it, but I always think about the wishbone as in Texas, because actually Oklahoma and Nebraska's wishbone was derived from the Texas wishbone. Darrell Royal, who was the head coach back in, I think it was in '69 when they won the national championship, and they ran the wishbone right down against everybody back when Texas was part of the Southwestern Conference. I'm sure Dale and Brian remember those years when the Southwestern Conference was a thing, and about half the teams were on probation on any given year. So
Sure do.
What so what's the rest of the season like coming up? Who do you guys got this week?
We got Olympic this week, and then next week is Hickory Ridge, and then I think Central Cabarrus.
How you feel about this week? You ain't got to say anything to get yourself in trouble either.
No, I feel good about this week. We got a lot of guys out from the Berry game, but we got some guys that want to step up and want to make plays, so we're gonna do our best.
What grade are you in, Jamarcus?
I'm a sophomore, sir.
Are you just a sophomore?
Yes, sir.
So do you guys have are you a younger team? Do you have more seniors on your team?
We got a bunch of us is in my age, sophomore. Really, it's a young team for real.
Now, are you one of the leaders?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you.
You can tell by
what is your height?
Later.
How tall are you?
5'7".
5'7", and how much you weigh?
230.
230.
My man.
I hear you, buddy.
So so you guys being sophomores, you got a big group of sophomores. You're coming off a big win. Like, what? And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but like, how do you feel? How do you feel the future looks? Like, are you going to be able to lead these guys and kind of get back to where get back to being big name in the city here?
Yeah, I feel like after this year we can lead. I can lead this team to a victory for sure. We're going to be something next year. Really, we have a great team. We got a great young team. We got a lot of dogs in the team. Trenton Bynum. We got some guys, knowledge hairs that really wants to play and win the championship with this team. So we're gonna stick with this team and do our best.
What do you think as far as your game? Number one, what's the best thing that you do? And number two, what do you want to improve on the most?
The best thing I do is probably run somebody over or read the blocks or something like that. And something I want to work on is my speed. Yeah, my speed probably.
That's fantastic. That's awesome, man. And I mean, I'm telling you, the work that you guys put in, what you're going to do in the off season here. And again, I'm not trying to, jump ahead of the, what you guys got left on the schedule, but what you do and the commitment you're going to make in the off season, like that's where you get your team, man. That's where you guys come together and, you kind of get that shared suffering. We kind of call it over at our place that you got to go through a lot of stuff, but iron sharpens iron. And that's, as long as y'all keep pushing yourself and challenging yourself every day, man, it looks like you got a bright future ahead of you.
Appreciate it.
Well, Jamarcus, thank you so much for coming around here. We wish you the best for the next couple of years. And I'll tell you what, I still think of Earl Campbell when I saw you around, again, Texas, Wishbone. I don't know. You got some good vibes there, my friend. We wish you the best luck. And I'd like for us to see if we can get Ladarius on the line here.
Thank you.
Love to take your guy. And hopefully Ladarius will be able to join us. Ladarius, how you doing, man?
Here he is.
Can you hear us?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, sir.
I'm having audio issues.
Okay.
We can hear you. You can't hear us?
You can hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear us?
I can't hear y'all. I tried logging out and logging back in, but it ain't work.
We will look in the chat. Look over here.
Yeah, I was going to see if we can have them talk a little bit about last week's game.
Last week's game was pretty good. We had a tough victory over West Cabarrus for the number 1 spot in the conference. We did pretty good together coming in. Our field goal kicker, Fernando, he got us the win 20-17, but also a shout out to our defense for holding it up for the game-winning pick, Connor.
Who had the intercept? Oh, shoot.
Yeah, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties. We're going to send some questions
My bad,
around.
so I'm still having trouble in hearing.
All righty. Well, maybe we can get him back on in a little bit.
Yeah, we can bring the coaches in. And
yeah, let's bring the coaches in.
when he comes back, just understand we'll jump right back to him.
Yeah. All right, let's bring in the coaches here. Mike Newsom, Joe Glass.
Hey, guys.
What's up, guys?
Wow, I just got so much better looking. Welcome onto the show, guys. Newsom showing off his Johnson and Lamb gear right there. There we go.
I'm trying to get some light so I can see.
Coach Glass, how's it go, man?
Good. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. Big one for you guys this week, huh?
Oh, yeah. Every week.
Going to be against East Lincoln. I'll tell you what, that East Lincoln Hickory matchup, that's been a pretty good matchup the last 4 or 5 years. Usually it's one of those games that decides who's going to go to want to win the conference. So
Just say hey to my wife back here. We're pressing shirts. We got a little shirt business on the side. So
okay.
I'll turn it so she doesn't get embarrassed. We have a little shirt
turn
business on the side.
Turn
so
it
she's
back,
pressing
man.
shirts.
Turn it
There you
back.
go. There she
There
is.
you go.
Say hey, Catherine.
Oh, I thought she was your daughter. So
Oh, no. So you're saying I'm old. It's okay.
no, you're younger than I am, man. So
That's funny. But yeah, it's been a big matchup last few years. I mean, the conference has pretty much come down to us since probably after my first year there. So it's been good.
How long you been with the Hickory now? Is this your 4th or 5th year? Or
This is 5th year.
wow, so you just came in right at the beginning of the COVID, right in the middle of COVID.
I came right after the COVID season was over with. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Can we let Ladarius come in and then
see if we can get him in there?
Get him knocked out? Maybe the
Ladarius,
coaches might want to ask him some questions too.
What's up, Coach? I can hear y'all now.
okay.
There we go.
Well, Ladarius, you got some guys that won some state championships. Actually, 3 state championship coaches here interviewing. Yeah, it's not me and it's not Dale. So,
Yes, sir. I played against one of them, the Butler head coach.
okay.
Yes, it did. First game this year.
Yes, sir.
That's a good game too, man. We kind of battled it out for a while there.
Loved the competition, sir. Loved it.
For sure. You're a fun guy to play against. What so tell me about the season so far, other than the first game.
The first 2 games we started to struggle a little bit without our starting QB Cato out, but Zaire stepped up in the pocket and he really got us going for us. So it's been a struggle, but we stayed together. Family is something we preach, so stay together, stay strong. Do what we have to do.
Now, and I'm sure of course, you'd love to have, would have loved to have Cato those first couple of games. But do you feel like him being out actually kind of forced you guys to improve in different ways and kind of change the way you do things and helped you guys out a little bit?
With Cato, it really spread it out. Our passing game was with him coming back. He already got #1 spot in passing yards, so that really elevated our game because we are running heavy offense. But when we get Cato the ball, it's gonna be something.
So what? Now you play, obviously you play offensive line. Do you play defensive line as well?
Yes, sir. I also play D tackle and the 3 tech sometimes, but I mainly play left guard or center, either or.
What's your favorite position to play out of all those?
Everything. I love it all. It don't matter.
You going to
where
kick
put
or
me,
punt?
Coach.
Will you punt or kick?
I'll say kick.
Kick. Okay, I got you. Well, cool. Who's your biggest opponents? Who's a team that you like to win against the most?
A big opponent for us is our rivals, Palisades. We haven't beat them yet, but I love the competition, love the work. Butler was another good one, and I would have to say Central Cabarrus for sure.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I always think about our buddy Donnie Kiefer over at Central Cabarrus. Dale, I know you got something to ask.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I wanted to ask him on that first play that we saw in highlights. Did that lineman try to cut you? That you pancaked? Not this one.
That was actually the linebacker I climbed up to. It was a double team on the nose guard. That was sophomore year.
It was the one at the goal The one at the goal line.
Yes, sir.
Let me see here.
Oh, the one at the goal line for. Oh yeah, he did try to cut me. Shelby, that's all they game planned after the first few plays was to cut us. We just had to adjust.
Now, do you get in your all's offense now? Like, do you get to get out and pull a bunch? Like, you get to get out and run and be an athlete, or they just kind of keep you guys zoning and doing things like that?
This past game last week when we went against West Cabarrus, first play, I had a pull to the outside, knocked them right over. It's in my highlights for the West Cabarrus game. It's the first one.
Yeah, man, look at that. Coach Newsom, what you think of that guy getting up under his pads, running his legs like that?
I like it. I liked it all about it. I mean, he's a good player. Definitely can make him a good guard.
So, Ladarius, let me ask you this, because, being an offensive lineman myself from way back when, there's certain parts of practice that I like, certain parts of practice I didn't like at all. What is, number one, your favorite part of practice? Number two, what's your least favorite part of practice? But you cannot say conditioning is your least favorite part of practice, because that's a given.
I actually love conditioning, Coach. That's my favorite part is to run.
Ooh.
Yes, sir. Y'all was showing the sophomore season highlights. I just updated my profile with the new ones, but as you can see, we worked on our conditioning a lot this summer because it's only a little bit of us. But back to your question, my apologies. I say the best part of practice is going against our defense every day. Every time we go 11 on or in the red zone period, helps me out a lot for in games. And least favorite is none of it really. I love it all.
Just love to play the game.
Yes, sir. Love playing football. It's been playing it my whole life.
Tell us about who's your offensive line coach?
Coach Barker, but he just got deployed to the National Guard. So Shout out to him. He came here last season after our old offensive lineman coach came to A.L. Brown. So right now, the replacement offensive line coach is Coach Daniels. He's doing a really great job.
Now, do you know the history, some of especially the recent history, some of the offensive linemen at Olympic High School?
Yes, sir. Torselli Simpkins. We got Elite over there at Tulane. Boone. There's a lot of linemen that came here. Christian Carranza, Brandon Hardy, Keelan Harris, a lot.
I got a chance to work. I coached at a Carolina Bowl, an All-Star game. We had Torricelli was on our team. And, you talk about just a fantastic player. But let me ask you this, what is there an offensive lineman or even a defense lineman for that matter? Is there a player that you like to watch, whether they play on Saturdays or on Sundays, that you kind of model your game after, or do you take bits of a lot of different people?
I mainly focus on Willie Lampkin because he uses his size as an advantage. And since I'm pretty sure and steady myself, that's a great influencer to impact my game, working on feet and being explosive off the ball.
That's a great answer. So what's the schedule look like going forward for you?
It's looking pretty good. We got Harding coming up next. Then after that, we have Berry and Hickory Ridge.
Okay. So you guys think you feel like you're getting set up for a pretty good playoff run here?
Yes, sir.
Oh, great.
What
Well,
you
I
think, guys?
appreciate you coming on here.
Yes, sir. I appreciate y'all too. God bless.
Yeah, you take
Thank
care, my
you,
friend.
Darius.
You too,
Darius
sir.
Young, I tell you what, he's got a bright future ahead of us. We had 2 sophomores on here tonight. So I wanted to ask Joe, how many sophomores do you have playing varsity this year?
It's not something we normally do. I've got 2.
2. Okay. You're mostly junior and senior heavy for the most part.
Yeah, we don't. I feel like, we try to keep every kid down as much as we can. Coming in with the philosophy of trying to keep our young guys together and win with those guys. And our JVs have been really good. That's because we don't bring sophomores up. And we bring them up by necessity. We've got a corner and a slot, and that's about it.
Okay, I gotcha. Now, quick question for you. I know you spent a little bit of time over in Guilford County, over in Gibsonville, which I was actually over there last Friday night. Saw them play Southern Guilford. Any big differences, or is it fairly similar? Just like the type of football you see in the Triad is what you see in the Western Foothills.
I think the difference is when you're in Guilford County, you see like you'll see a team that's 2-6 and has great athletes. I think in Western North Carolina you don't see quite as many athletes, but I think you see a difference in coaching. I think you see a difference in some of the size and the skilled linemen. I think you really see a difference in coaching. A lot of these guys in Western North Carolina have been here for so long and been coaching for so long in the same system. It's just like clockwork to them. Like for us, we've only lost one coach in 5 years. It's not transient. Wow. Guys aren't moving and things like that. So anytime you can keep your coaching staff together and things like that, I think that makes a big difference.
I gotcha.
What's been the key for you to be able to keep your coaches together for so long?
I just don't work them. I don't work them on Sundays. That's probably part of it. No, so we don't meet on. I mean, you're gonna think it's crazy. We don't meet on Sundays. Luckily our guys, we have turf, so we don't have to worry about painting fields and things like that. I normally go do most of the laundry and things like that. So our guys get to just coach, and that's pretty much it. I mean, so the Sunday meetings alone is the biggest difference. Is not having to come in at 2:00 and sit there till 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night like I used to back when I first started is huge. And I think a lot of times the wives are like, you can't go anywhere else because they're gonna make you meet on Sunday. So I think that helps.
Who are some of your big influences, coming up as a coach?
I mean, I came up under Chris Deal, rest his soul. Chris passed away ALS a few years ago. So he gave me my first shot coaching, and I was an assistant offensive line coach under him. And he was, of course, with Tom Harper at that time. And then, Tom has been around forever. And Tom actually talked me into coaching. I wasn't going to do it. I was doing all kinds of different stuff, being fresh out of the military. And so he got me into coaching and was at Alexander Central for a while, and then moved on to J.K. Atkins, worked for him in South Iredale, learned a lot under J.K. for a long time. And then funny thing, we circled back. Chris came back and was with Chris again. And then I got my first head coaching job. So Chris Deal, Tom Harper, J.K. Atkins are the three guys that, really had an impact on me. And Ron Turner, we were friends and assistant coaches together, and he passed recently from cancer. So he was another one that was really big and influential on everything that I learned.
Just out of curiosity, does Hickory play Freedom in the non-conference at all? Because at one time there was a pretty a long time ago there used to be a pretty good non-conference.
No, JK and I tried to work it out. It just didn't work out schedule wise because they've got that big league, and he's got to play county teams and stuff like that. So it didn't work out. Hopefully we can next realignment.
Gotcha.
Coach, where was your first head coaching job at?
Patton High School.
Okay.
High School, I guess that would have been 2013. I think we went 1-10. So 2013, 1-10, and but the JVs were like 8-2, and then the next year we went, I think, 8-5, and got to the second round of playoffs, which is like the first or second time ever. So
now, have you ever competed against Coach Newsom over here?
I think at Robinson. Yep, we had probably one of the most historic games I've ever been a part of. One night,
big game.
Come out, we go up by a bunch of scores, and they come storming back, and I think you try to double pass at the end of the game, and a kid named Q Reed like bit up on it and then jumped back and intercepted. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, Q Reed, he was a special kid.
Talked to him today, actually.
Newsom, was that 448 double pass?
Probably.
On the goal line.
Yeah.
All
he had to do was put it. He was wide open. All the guy had to do was put it over the top, and just Q Reed was just unbelievable athlete and reached out of the Superman over the top of it and grabbed it out of the sky.
Yeah.
Those people you talk about your influences now, those are some great people now. I mean, all those. Tom Harper's he's one of my influences in football. Kind of got me in with the Coaches Association and everything. So I owe a lot to Tom Harper over my years too. So that's some great people.
Absolutely.
Well, I know. Just let you know, I know Coach Hales has got to step off for just a little bit. Coach Hales is always good having you on the show. Hopefully, you can come back in a little bit. So
you got it, guys. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck this week, Coach.
Thank you. You too, Coach.
Appreciate it.
So,
Coach Glass,
Coach,
I wanted to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
And it's really about football culture. And I'm curious, in developing football culture, you've been at a number of different places. How do you view the football culture and the development at Hickory versus some of the other places that you've been?
Well, I mean, my wife would have called me Suitcase Joe for a little bit because I bounced around for a couple of years. But so it's very similar to what it was at Robinson. I think that one, my personality has to match up with our kids' personality. There's certain places I know I can't go coach. I may be too rough or too soft, vice versa, for being certain places. And I think that the culture part of it, I mean, it really comes with your assistants. Having a good group of assistant coaches that buy into your plan, buy into your program, and are with you 100% is huge. And I think it's just like anything else. I mean, you love the kids, you care about them, but you hold them to high standards, and you don't leave them down when they leave. To me, it's pretty simple because I saw it for so long with Chris and Tom and everything else. So, like, when people ask me, like, where do you get your culture from? I'm like, it's just normal. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really have something special because it's kind of how I cut my teeth in it. So it's really not something that I really even focus on and think about. Of course, we've developed it some and moved it up some and added things to it. If you were to come and watch one of our practices, most people come and watch them and they're probably like, okay, how do you get away with this stuff? How do you do these things? It's very, very fast paced. Not a lot of moving around, very violent. I mean, and our kids just know what to expect. But of course, that took 2 to 3 years. And now it's kind of like it's kind of easy. You know what I mean? You almost get bored at practice sometimes because they're just going and going and going and going.
Wow. What's the number? Well, how many players you got on varsity and JV this year?
We started out the year with about 99, and of course had to let a couple go, and then a couple just didn't make it through with just having to quit and stuff like that. So I think when somebody counted, I don't ever get caught up with them, but I think that we have like 40 varsity players and like 43 or 44 JV players now.
Okay, got you. That's one great thing about Hickory. You got a lot of good players, and you also have a really good fan base. Always think about Mr. Duckworth. He's always been a very big supporter of high school football, and in particular Hickory football. So I'm sure
we have an unbelievable community. We have a great mix of kids. So it's nothing to see, Pap Young and some of these older guys that played at Hickory back in the 50s sitting there watching practice and things like that. They always tell me what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong, which I really appreciate. So, it's a great place, great community. Our booster club's great. We're really supported there.
What do you think about Lenore Ryan actually getting to host 2 of the state championship games this year?
I think it would be really, really good if we could actually end up in one and get to play there. But, that's a long way to go. But we actually talked about it then when we saw it. I was like, could you imagine having a Hickory High State Championship game at Lenore Ryan University on a Saturday? It would be ridiculous.
I tell you, talking about just getting there, you're the West, 5A West, and also 6A West are just absolutely loaded. I mean, you talk about Hickory and East Lincoln. You also have Crest. You got Kings Mountain, I think 6A now, but right. South Point. You got a lot of really great 5A programs. J.M. Robinson, that's another program.
Yeah, I think that's the sleeper that nobody really is talking about. But yeah, they're really good.
Exactly. I have like J.M. Robinson around 5th or 6th or so. Whoever gets to that, you say it's pretty evident in the West that whoever wins the 5A West is going to be battle tested and should be well prepared for the East.
I mean, just like last year, the 3A playoffs last year were brutal. I mean, going through Crest and in West Charlotte, and I mean, 3A was. I mean, it's not much different. You got a couple teams that are out of there, but it's still pretty rough.
Even the year before, you had Dudley. That was, it was Dudley, West Charlotte, Hickory. I mean, it was just like battle after battle.
Yeah, each week could have been a championship.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we got Coach Newsom on here. Coach, do you have anything you'd like to ask Joe? Anything or any question you had on your mind?
Well, you know, Joe, I've in my new job, I've been up to see Joe several times and worked with Joe, and you guys have hit the nail on the head. His culture, what he has up there, what he's every time I walk in there, the kids, I get to see the weight room. The kids are working extremely hard. And I get to walk in a lot of weight rooms, and when you see kids in the weight room working out as hard as what his kids work out, you know that when they go to the field, it transitions over there. And then you can see the culture. I've not really seen him practice, but I've watched the kids play. I know they're excited. I've talked to some of his kids as they're in there. So you can see that culture. It bleeds out of them, and says a lot about Joe and what he does up there. I always respected him, again, from his time at J.M. Robinson and watching him kind of grow, and then again having some of the same mentors. But, you know, Joe, what you do up there is fantastic. And, you know, tell me about you talked about your assistant coaches and keep around, and I couldn't do what you do. I couldn't let them off on Sunday. So God bless you for doing that. But you've got some great young assistant coaches who probably, and I know one has been a head coach before, but tell me about some of your assistant coaches and the jobs that they do for you.
Well, they're not really young. I mean, I've got Mike Natoli, who completely runs with our offense and does everything. Like I said, I call him the mad scientist. He's probably the most intelligent offensive coordinator I've ever been around, ever seen. I mean, he knows it, he sees it. It's amazing to see the stuff that he does. So he does such a good job there. Then I've got Josh Coffey, who is an assistant. Josh Coffey has been with me since I became a head coach in 2013 or 12 or whenever it was, and he has followed me everywhere I've went. So we went to school together, and he runs our JV program, which he's been with me so long he knows. So he's really been the glue that's kind of held all this stuff together. You know, we've got Kyle Riddle, who was offensive coordinator at South Iredale back when they had their state championship run. I've got a former guy that played for me, Kyrie Connor, who played at Mars Hill, coaching offensive line. I mean, I've got 16 assistant coaches, if that tells you anything. So that makes so I have like 2 offensive line coaches. Every kid is getting the sap coached out of them every day. We've got Darren Benfield, who's a veteran guy. I needed somebody that came in, just kind of had that old school country, scrappy, you know, edge to him, and he's come in and been able to do that. You know, and then you go to defense. I've got Monty Simmons, who's been a head coach for a while. He's a defense coordinator, and he's really good in the secondary and doing a great job. Got a former NC State player, Will Brown, that's come in coaching our safeties, and he's our safety coach. Jody Weatherman, who just retired, who's got 30 some odd plus years coaching our defensive line. Got a new kid just came in. I'm excited about coaching him as a freshman. When he was at Patton before I left to go to Robinson. Zach Johnson's coming in to eat at inside linebackers. And, you know, we keep getting steals. I got a guy named Bruce Gerber that emailed me randomly, moved here, was a junior college coach, junior college special teams coordinator, moved here, got a job in Statesville, wanted to coach, and now he's coaching outside linebackers and running our special team. So I've been very lucky and blessed with the guys that I've got.
You're only as good as your players and your assistant coaches. I've learned that over the years.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll tell you what, Joe, I just want to tell you how much I've always been a big fan of yours. I guess it's about, we met back in, I think it was 2017 or 2018. You were over at East Guilford. We shook hands. And as soon as I walked away, Coach Glass looks at his player and says, "You see that guy over there? He's the one that said that he's going to finish 4th in your conference. I know we're better than that. We're going to show him that."
I like you to pick against me every week, brother.
Well, I tell you what, that's the thing about it. Whenever someone asks me if Hickory's going to win, I'm like, okay, is Joey going to watch this or not? If so, maybe I'll put something there and say, no, I don't think Hickory can win. So anyway, well, Coach, it's always good to see you here. Do you have any questions for us or any comments or anything that you'd like to share with us?
Oh, no, just keep doing what you guys are doing. We appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate it. I didn't want to keep you on here. Unless you want to stay, you can, but I'm cognizant of your own time.
No, we got some shirts to press back here. Like I said, we got this little T-shirt thing that we're doing on the side. Trying to take a little business from Mike Newsom over here, but
don't let Joe fool you. Now that's a house of champions. Now his wife can win. She's won a few. She holds down some state championships himself.
Yeah, I'm the minority here. My wife is 5 straight state championship game appearances. She's won the last 2. So, and then my daughter was here. You know, my daughter before she left went to UT Chattanooga. She's won 5 state championships. I'm like just a peon here compared to them. I've got one little old ring.
House of Champions.
You know, my wife's holding up 5 All-American Lenore Ryan playing volleyball, and you know, so like I said, I got my little one, and I don't even pull it out. It don't even compare.
Oh gosh, man. Well, I'll send you some money for some therapy because I'd need that if I lived in that household.
Yeah,
All those
hey,
champions.
as my wife says, winners win.
That's right.
Well, you know, later on that game, I don't know if you remember this over at Williams. There was a player that went down, and you were the first person that went over there, and you took care. You looked after him until this the medical staff came in there. He got hit pretty bad too. It was a pretty bad injury, and I was just thinking, you know, that's a really good person that just would stay there. Because you were kind of calming him down at the time because he was screaming for bloody murder, and it was just it was a good scene for high school football.
It's about the kids, man.
It is. It's all
That's
about
right.
the kids.
100%.
Well, I got a message from somebody that wanted us to look at the rankings. And Joe, you're talking about if you want to stay around, this might be some fun things for you for motivation. So stick with. I'm gonna put my old man glasses here with the NCISAA, which, to be honest with you, I couldn't tell you much except I know that Providence Day is really good and Charlotte Latin's undefeated this year. And Dale, I'll leave it to you because
Providence Day is maybe the best team in the North Carolina period, all classifications. Chad Greer's got a really good thing going over there. Charlotte Latins, you know, they're kind of surprising things right now. 7-0. Now the big Charlotte schools over the next few weeks have got to play each other. So we're kind of at that point in the season when we see where Providence Day, Latin, Christian, and Country Day all fall out. Which I think at the end of it all, those will be your top 4 teams, and most likely Providence Day will be the not most likely, they will be top dog. Charlotte Christian just had a big tough game against Raven Gap, and while they show out at 3-4, that's a dangerous team for a lot of these programs. So we won't belabor it anymore. I don't know enough about some of the others.
I know nothing at all. I'll be my Sergeant Schultz on that one. 1A, I think there's 4 teams that really kind of stand out to me. Robbinsville in the West, and then Wilson Prep to me has probably got the most talent of all the 1A programs. But Northside and Kip Pride, both of those are really good teams. In my own rankings, I had Northside as number 1 right now. I think this is not very deep. I think you got maybe 4 or 5 teams that can play in the 2A or 3As. South Davison, they're 7-0. They've never been 7-0 in their history. They might have been a 7-0 team back when there was Denton High School prior to 1988, but very good season for South Davison. And anybody was curious about Washington County, that's Plymouth High School in Cresswell that consolidated about 10 years ago. All right, 2As. You know, in the East, I always joke around. Like last year, I used to do my my Elite Eights, and I have Tarboro number 1, Tarboro JV number 2, Tarboro's middle school team and number 3. Tarboro in the East is just dominant. I tell you what, though, I think that Corvian Community School, that might be a dominant team also. Any thoughts, Dale?
That's a matchup that I think is going to happen again. Those two will face each other in the state championship, I believe. Of course, they got to win their games and got to win through the playoffs. And you want to say everybody's got a chance, but I think these two teams are at a different level.
I agree with you.
Doesn't Community School of Davison, that they play Corvian this week?
They do. It's going to be a really good matchup. So going to be a fun game to go to. I do think Corvian's going to be a little bit favored, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. In the 3A, to me it's like 5 teams. They're just kind of it's going to be in the mix. Lincolnton, they came out with a big victory against Shelby, beat Shelby 34-33. I'll tell you right now, I saw Walkertown play a couple weeks ago, and that is a great team. It reminds me of a Reidsville team. It reminds me of a team that any team that Jimmy Teague's ever coached.
Right.
And that coach that's at Walkertown, he was at South Davison previously and turned that program around. So he's what Trip Honeycutt's his name. He's a good coach. I'm a big fan of James Keenan down in Duplin County. They make more than just good wine down in Duplin County. In East Rutherford and Shelby, I mean, you can't deny them either.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't think you can. This is Chris's rankings, and he's got Shelby down at 5th, but I guarantee you they will be making noise through the playoffs. That, it's not like Lincolnton blew them out. That was a really, really close game, right? So
that's right.
I think there's some good teams there. A lot of good football. But
I agree with you. I have Shelby at number 2, and I think Walkertown 3 and East Rutherford 4. So 4A, I really like Brevard. That is a really good team. They're one of the best teams we've seen in that back into the prior 2A size. Now it's 4A in a long time. Brevard is just the real deal. Reesville and West Craven, those are teams that really kind of shine out in the East. I do think Reesville is going to go East this year by looking at how the teams are coming out that we're going to make the playoffs. They're probably going to either be on the East or the West, but it's going to be it's going to be right on the border of the East and the West. So, but right now I do think Reesville is going to head there. The team that kind of looking around, nobody's talking about is Central Davison. 5 years ago, Central Davison was lucky to win 1 or 2 games. Now look at them. Mm-hmm. So,
this is as you were talking about Reesville. I was becoming a fan of knowing you're in the West or you're in the East. I wish we could find a way to get back to that versus this splitting it at the end of the season back like we did, when we had the split classes, etc. But anyway, those are 2 good teams up top there.
Right.
It's just a little strange seeing Brevard above a Reesville, but
now going into
team this year.
Oh, you got that right. Really good team. And talking about good teams, 5A, we were talking about 3A being all close. 5A, those top 4 teams are really, it's just paper thin. Looks like Chris has Hickory at number 3 and East Lincoln at number 1 and Crest at number 2. I personally have them Crest at 1. I think I have East Lincoln at 2 and Hickory at 3. So Joe, use that against me. You know what to do with that.
Take us off the list. We shouldn't be ranked. Just take us off.
Yeah, just take them off there.
South Point beat us. We have no reason to be ranked above them. Put us on down. Just take us off.
Yeah, what's Hickory doing here? So
yeah, we don't need to be on there.
We were talking about earlier on J.M. Robinson at number 8. I'm a big fan of J.M. Robinson. I think they're up there with South Point and Hickory.
Yeah, 4. So Chris has, and I can't argue with that 4 Western teams, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Right.
That's hard to argue against. And honestly, personally, I think JMR might be a little better than 8th, but we'll see.
I've seen a lot of West teams on all these lists.
Yeah. Well, West, I don't know. West in a lot of classifications has better football, I think, top to bottom.
I agree with you on that. 6A, Ashbrook at 1, Watauga at 2. I can't go wrong with anything that Chris has done here. Those top 8 teams are the same 8 teams I have. I'm actually a little bit heavier or higher on 71st than Chris is. I'm not quite as high as Watauga. I think I have Watauga at number 4. But there's these teams are all there with each other. I mean, I could see any of these teams winning the state championship.
I like Ashbrook. I have for 4 to 5 weeks now. I really like what Ashbrook is doing, and I think they got a golden opportunity to find themselves playing in the final game.
Right. And you got some other teams not even ranked here. Kings Mountain is one of these teams that's not ranked, and they could definitely be in there. So,
Coach
Glass ain't right. Looks like Coach stepped out for a second. 7A. You know what? I'll tell you what. Grimsley, Weddington, you can't go wrong with them 1 and 2. And I'm convinced that Cleveland is our 3rd best team. And I think Cleveland's going to come out in the East. But that Grimsley, Weddington, you think Mooresville can beat Grimsley or Weddington?
I think based on what I saw in the Huff game, Mooresville, let's just forget what the players did on the field, because the players played very well. Coaches schemed that Huff game very, very well. I honestly, I showed up to that game. I thought, Mooresville's not really going to have a chance in this game, but they had Huff a little bit confused, both offensively and defensively. It was one of those games that it wasn't just a series to series thing. Huff was not flowing play to play, and I think it had a lot to do with Mooresville. So I personally right now, I think they might have a shot. Now Weddington is just, that's a solid team, and Grimsley is too. So getting out of the West is going to be tough for Mooresville. Mooresville will have to go through probably one, or I would think potentially both of those schools. Depends on how brackets go. But if they were to make it to Saturday, Mooresville will probably have to beat both Grimsley and Weddington. So that's a big task, Jim.
All right.
And Coach Newsom, you can say something if you want to.
All good teams. I'll tell you what I've noticed on this list, and I was part of the Coaches Association that got this, and I don't know what your feelings are on the changing of the classifications and going to 8 divisions, but one thing I've noticed is when we had just 4 divisions, you'd see a bunch of 7-0 teams on the board at this time, and you would lose a team that's like a West Charlotte that's 5-2 because they got 2 losses and maybe the best team in the state, right? When you had all those teams all kind of packed in there. So I like seeing the different classifications. I like seeing some of the schools that probably wasn't competing, but now are competing at those top levels now. And I think a lot of that's got to do with the division. So I do like it a lot, what we've done in the state as far as adding the divisions.
My feelings, Coach, are that we needed 6, not 8. But
6 may have been the perfect number, but it I don't know if it worked out exactly on paper the way they wanted it to at 6. But I don't disagree with you.
Right.
Now with this 8A, Huff and West Charlotte, I think they're going to battle out in the West. Do you think Myers Park or Mauer Creek would have anything to say about that? At this point, I think they're a step behind both Huff and West Charlotte, but am I wrong about that?
I say don't leave out that number 8 team, Jim. I've seen all these teams play, and I would. All right, Southwest Dale. attended the Clover game. Clover's a very good football team, and Independent's a very good football team. So I think at the end of the day, the West is still going to. The West is not going to be like the West was the last several years in 4A, where it's just a giant fight club. That's now moved to 7A, where
Right.
it's just a brutal. It'll probably brutal every week, but yeah, I think I just think we got a lot of good football.
That's what you said, Dale, with 6 divisions. With 6 divisions, it would have put all those monsters all in the same division. It'd have put Weddington and Huff and West Charlotte and, Independence and all of them in the same division, and it'd have been all those monsters that you're talking about, So I've seen a lot of these teams play as well. Huff's a solid team. I've talked to Coach Deshaun Baker quite a few times and some of their coaches several times about it. They're just hitting one of those things where what I would say about them is they're so good. Their top level is so good, and a lot of those kids have transferred out of there that were backup players, and they're playing and starting and being solid players at other schools. And that's where you got to have those great backups to push your starters. And sometimes your starters get a little less hungry. And sometimes I think sometimes they allow teams to kind of stay with. I don't think anybody can really play with Huff as long as they play at their top level. But I think sometimes because they don't have anybody pushing them at practice, sometimes they get in the game and allow lesser teams to kind of hang around a little bit, and then it explodes in the second half or explodes at the end. But West Charlotte, I'll tell you, their front. Everybody talks about offensively and the quarterback. Their front 7 now on defense, they get after your tail now. They get after it. I watched their defensive line. I don't think they would have gotten blocked in two-hand touch football, because I don't think many people were touching them in several games that I saw. They were just moving past people.
In the East, I think Millbrook and Jordan. I know Chris has Hoggard at number 6. I saw Hoggard play earlier on. They got a great team also, but I like Jordan and also with Millbrook. Millbrook, I think, can win the state championship. People might be shocked when I say that, but I do think they're definitely the third best team in 8A. Tell you what, let's look at the RPIs by classification. See if we can pull that up. Let's see what we got here. We won't go far on the 1A. I think Kip Pride, Northside, 1 and 2. And just let you know with 1A, if you have a 1A football program, congratulations, you're in the playoffs. Teams that I think you have to look at for the 1A playoffs, Robbinsville, whoever has to play them, I'm sorry, but I think Robbinsville is by far the best team in the West. In the East, Kip Pride at 1, Northside at 2, and Wilson Prep at number 9. Wilson Prep's played a crazy season. They played Clayton. They played a lot of 2A, 3A, 4A teams, and they're 2-5. No 1A team has played a tough schedule as Wilson Prep.
Yeah, I think the big thing here is there are no bubble teams, which was kind of what this is going to lead into, is who's on the bubble.
Right. So no bubble teams here on 1A. And same thing will be true with 2A. There's 48 teams that could make the playoffs. Only 45 teams play 2A, so there's no bubble in 2A. And maybe we can look at 3A. Or not. Technical difficulties here.
Had a question thrown up. Do you think Weddington can win the state championship? That's what it's. There we go. I'll answer it in a minute.
So I'll tell you what, let's look, we'll say around position 45, 44, 45, all the way down to about 55. That's going to be your bubble right there, 45. I'm going to say right there, there's a little bit of a difference between 44 and 45 by looking at the RPI. Basically, anything above 3.33, you're in the playoffs. Trinity is right there on the edge. in the playoffs. None of those teams, if they miss the playoffs, I think it's going to be a shock to anybody. I mean, even Bedingfield, South Lenore, West Caldwell, Wheatmore. I don't see anything really to be alarmed by. But and I think the same probably going to be true with 4A and 5A. Langston, just out of curiosity, let's look at if we can. Let's look at the 6A. And Dale, if you want to answer that question that came up.
Of course, Alexander. I believe Weddington can win a state championship. I think there's some other teams that can win a state championship too, but you can't count Weddington out. That's a solid football program, and as a team, that's a solid team. A lot of good ball players on that squad, so they will be a task for anybody to beat. East or West.
All right, 6A. We'll go down to about the 44 to 54. So I'm just going to look and see if there's anything. Well, we can maybe later on. We were in and now we're out. Here we go. Let's see here. 44. That's E. Smith. There was we talked about this tragedy last or a couple of days ago about E. Smith's 3 players died, and just tragic that happened. Our thoughts and prayers go with the E. Smith Golden Bulls community. Looking at it though, there's a pretty good drop, probably between 43 and 44. So I think anybody above E. Smith's probably in the playoffs. E. Smith's probably in. Kind of looking down a little bit. Vance County, they're right there at the bubble. Even if they didn't make the playoffs, wouldn't surprise me too much. All these teams have been pretty much struggling. East Chapel Hills, yes, they're 3 and 4, but they've played some pretty subpar teams like Cedar Ridge and Northern Durham. So,
yeah, if you look at the RPI there, you can see right there after Vance County, you got a nearly a 0.01 drop. So that's a pretty big drop.
Right.
So I think once you start getting down in their gym, it's going to be hard to jump up. We'll see if there's – well, I won't belabor it. Teams like Harding would have to win out, I think, if they want to make the playoffs.
I'll tell you what, we'll look at 7A and then 8A, and then we can move on. Don't want to spend too much time on that because, the thing is with the RPIs, we got 70% of the games are in now, or actually, I should say 8-1 or 8-11. So probably 75% of all the games have been played by now. But we'll go down to about 44 to 54, see what we have here. So Heritage, that's at 0.44. There's a big drop off between Ashley and Hopewell, Dale.
Yeah, I see that. And then it drops again down at Wet. So, yeah.
Yeah.
There at Ashley Hopewell,
I don't think if any of those teams don't make it, that doesn't surprise me. Let's look at 8A, and then we can look at some other stuff.
And Alexander, it depends on which Panthers you're talking about. You might want to type that in. Number of teams with the Panthers. Now, hopefully you're not. Oh, if you mean the Carolina Panthers, I don't even want to talk about that. I don't know about you, Coach Newsom, but
so only 8 teams in the 8A will not make the playoffs. So starting at between 25 and 32.
Yeah, let's look down at the bottom 8. Yeah,
and let's see here. There's a big drop between 24 and 25 right there. Chambers and Northwest Guilford. That's a huge drop.
That's a gigantic drop.
going into the season, I thought Northwest Guilford would make the playoffs. And I thought Hoke County would make the playoffs. After that, none of those teams really I thought would make the playoffs. But I did have higher expectations with Northwest Guilford. That's the one team that's kind of, I think they've probably been fighting through some injuries and stuff. So, Dale, I know we were supposed to run a clip, I think, about some Charlotte Mecklenburg's CMS stuff. Would you like to take a lead on that one?
That's why we have Coach Newsom. We asked you to come on, and did you get a chance to read the story?
Well, unfortunately, with the story there, I've contributed over the years a lot to the Shaw Observer, but I don't have a subscription, so I can't read it. It keeps kicking me out.
Oh, really? I thought I'd sent you a paywall free.
And maybe you did, and that may be my lack of technology or understanding how to use things like that. But I do know a lot about this situation, and I've talked to the coaches that are involved in this, and I'm all for them, and will advocate for them, and have advocated for coaches and teachers and whatnot for a long, long time. I don't think that teachers get paid what they're due, and I don't think that. And I think coaches are way behind in North Carolina, and I've got a lot of thoughts about it. I don't know how long the show is, but I can cut it down. But I do have a lot of thoughts about it, and I have thought about some suggestions, some things that could be done, and some things that could be done immediately in CMS to help coaches. And it should be fairly easy to do. And I just hope that the right people hears a message. And maybe I need to start advocating more as I go into coaches, because I'm for the coaches 100%.
Well, I'm going to ask you about that. I thought I might just quickly state I've heard from a number of coaches. Now, when I say a number, I'm not talking about dozens of coaches, okay? But I have heard from coaches, and I've actually heard from maybe both sides, or not both sides, but two different points of view here. I think everybody agrees that coaches, and this is coaches now making some of the comments I'll mention. I don't think anybody disagrees that coaches put a lot of work in, especially football coaches, but I don't want to take anything away from any coach. The hours that you guys put in is tremendous, and the amount of pay that you get for putting those extra hours in is not. It's very low. Now, I have heard, I think everyone agrees with that, Coach Newsom. Now, I have heard some comments concerning some feelings that your teachers first, and football coaching is something you do, but you're a teacher, and teachers deserve more pay as well. So there's kind of I guess, some competing thought as far as, do you just get coaches extra pay, but what about, as someone put it to me, what about science teachers that also go home and spend a lot of time developing things for their students, and putting that extra time in to deliver a good curriculum.
So you're right. There's a lot of teachers like that, and I myself and a lot of people don't realize, they think all football coaches are gym coaches and weightlifting coaches and all that. And I don't want to take anything away from those guys, because the guy that does a great job in the weight room works harder than anybody that I know of in a school, because it's not just roll. If you're a weightlifting coach, it's not just roll the balls out in the gym, and it is difficult to stay pumped up and keep your kids pumped up in there. So don't want to take any away. But I was a science teacher for 30 years. Battled in the classroom in science and did a fantastic job. And the one thing I would tell my coaches all the time is, you have to do a better job in the classroom than you do on the football field. And I always took it personal. I always my thing was I competed in everything that I did. So I wanted my kids to go in and compete in the classroom just like we would go compete on the football field. And so I took it serious and went in and taught. And I think a lot of my coaches, assistant coaches, if you talk to college coaches that ever come in recruiting our schools and would sit in one of my lessons, I mean, I taught class every single day. After you teach a certain subject for a certain time, I mean, I think that kind of slacks off a little bit how much you have to do outside the classroom. But one thing I would say to anybody, and this I would challenge anybody to understand this right here, is when it comes to coaches and how much extra they put in, right? Here's a simple little scenario that will make people understand. If a principal needed something done this Saturday morning at 9:00 at their school, right? Just needed some help. And he come to the school and he's need to ask some people for help. Is he going to go to you think he's going to go to the English department chair and say, hey, do you think you can get a couple of your English teachers to come by 9:00 Saturday morning and help me? You think he's going to go to the science department chair? You think he's going to go to the business department chair? Or do you think he's going to go to the athletic director and say, hey, can you get some of your coaches to come help me at 9:00 in the morning on Saturday? He's going to go to that athletic director and they go ask the coaches to come. Because your coaches are a lot of times they're in the classroom battling too. And they're also doing that, but they're also the ones that'll stay the longest. They're also the ones that'll do the most, and they're the ones that'll complain the least. They have more pride in the school than anybody else in that school. They're not racing out of the parking lot at 3:00 trying to beat everybody out of the parking lot. And I know a lot of teachers. I don't take anything away from teachers, but coaches are special people, and they do a lot for kids more than just coach their sport. And I think that says a lot about coaches, and I think some of that needs to be compensated some. Now, with that being said, I think that there's a lot of opportunities sometimes for compensation that coaches don't always take advantage of. A lot of times people will ask me, why did I leave Butler and go to A.L. Brown? Right? That was a big question when I left. Well, one of the big reasons was that, and of course there was a lot of things. A.L. Brown is what it is, right? It's one of the most traditional powerhouses in North Carolina. It shut down Friday nights. Great place, great venue to play in, great community support, great booster club, great school. Everything, all that is said and done. But there's also 40,000 other reasons why, if you get my drift. Mm-hmm. Because it was about a $40,000 raise for me to go from Butler to go to A.L. Brown. And because A.L. Brown is this one school system, and they were able to do some things financially for me that benefited me greatly. And it helped my family out tremendously. And there's jobs like that open. Now, I left a ton of athletes. I did not get to coach. I got to coach great players, but not the team worth of athletes that we had. I had to coach way harder at A.L. Brown than I ever had to coach at Butler in order to get some similar results. So you don't get to coach the same athletes if you were to leave the center city Charlotte athletes and go to some of these outskirting schools and coach. But you can make more money. So what is it? I mean, and so that'd be my devil's advocate about guys making more money. There is opportunities to make more money, but we kind of really like coaching those good athletes too. And so sometimes it's kind of, give or take there. But do the coaches deserve more? Absolutely. Do they deserve more across the board, not just football coaches? Absolutely. Do the teachers deserve more? Absolutely. And it's going to be a hard way to fix it. One of my things to fix it immediately that CMS, to me, that Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools could do immediately, and a lot of people don't understand this, the way that they get paid their stipends. CMS taxes their stipends like a bonus. So like, Bank of America, those guys get a bonus at the end. It doesn't mean they did more work. They just did their normal job, and they got a bonus for it. That bonus, tax-wise, gets taxed at 48%. Well, a coach works extra. He ain't just doing his normal job and then gets a bonus. He's working more hours. He's working more time, and he's there longer. But they tax the coaching stipend like a bonus. Now, some tax expert told me that doesn't matter. You get it back in the end anyway. After all my years in CMS, I never saw I got it back. Never did. And I may have had the wrong accountant, but I never did see it back. So I think that's one thing they could change immediately in payroll. I was told one time that it would cost a lot of money to change the payroll. Well, it's been now 30 years since I've been started in CMS, and they kept it the same. At some point, they could change that. And that would fix a lot of things, getting a lot more pay when that coaching stipend comes in rather than it being cut in half. That's one immediate thing they could do. There's all kind of other ideas that I've thought in my head of how to help coaches, and some of it at the state level. I think the state level could help coaches across the board in the state of North Carolina. And I think some people in the higher ups that have some of the ears of the state legislators and the people, the powers that be, need to step up and help the coaches too. I've often said that some of the some of the higher ups at one time, our head of our association, I don't know what Q Tucker gets paid now, but at one time, the head of the North Carolina High School Athletic Association was one of the highest paid persons in that position of their state. So the head of the state athletic association, North Carolina's, was one of the highest paid, while your coaches were sitting there about 39th in the country, about 40th in the country as far as coaching pay. To me, I think they would advocate a lot more for coaches' pay if they even that out. Right? If we're the 40th highest paid coaches, then they ought to be the 40th highest paid in their job too. And I think they would advocate a little more. Same thing with kind of maybe some of the athletic directors. If the athletic directors were getting paid at the same level that the coaches were getting paid, maybe they would advocate a little more, for the coaches to get paid more money. So I think there's some things that could be done there and help coaches out. But I don't. And I've told some of the coaches this. I did everything I ever did for the kids. And so I know it makes a bold statement to boycott. I don't know if I like that idea, but it's absolutely got their attention, even the thought of doing it. So, and I think would have, whether it be positive or negative, would be a big splash. But it's definitely got people talking about it and got people thinking. So whenever we can get people thinking about it and talking about it, maybe some actions will come behind it.
So, Coach Newsome, do you think, your situation at A.L. Brown versus Butler, I just want to talk about when you were at Butler.
Yep.
The kids are different. Your situation, I think, is different. And I don't think the biggest difference I see, and maybe I'm wrong, is a bit of a disconnection from CMS administration, not your school administration, but CMS, and you as a coach as to what you do. They can't fully grasp what you had to do as a coach. And honestly, I didn't fully grasp it until I got to know Coach Benny McMurray. And, he had a long, I had many meetings with him, lunch meetings, dinner meetings, because I really liked the man and I liked the things that he was telling me. And this was when my kids were at Olympic and Coach McMurray was over at Waddell, but I was probably spending more time with him than I was my kid's head coach in this kind of format. And he told me all the things he had to do as a human with his players, not just as a coach and coaching the X's and O's. Could you explain to those listening and maybe CMS the things that you did as a head coach that went beyond game planning?
Yeah. Well, first thing I would say, the one thing that, and I'll answer your question, but the first thing I would say, one of the most disappointing things that I had to me in CMS, being, after winning 2 state championships in a row, and I don't know what Coach Knotts and I talked about it a long time, him winning 7 in a row at Independence High School. I got a congratulatory letter. I was Max Prep Coach, National Coach of the Year, and 2-time state champion. And I got the governor of North Carolina cut out the article out of the Raleigh newspaper and mailed it to me with a congratulation letter. The governor of North Carolina, the superintendent of the state of North Carolina, sent me a handwritten congratulatory letter, for winning the state championship. The superintendent of Charlotte-Mecklenburg Schools I never even heard from him for winning the state championship. I don't know all those years. And that says a lot right there, right?
Yes.
But to get back to your question, a lot of people have no idea what we do as high school coaches. And I'm talking about across the board, what we do for kids. I had the guy that did my taxes all those years. He said, "Do you realize you spend more money?" Because after I would try to itemize stuff and write stuff off, he said, "Do you know you spend more money on these kids than you make coaching football?" every single year. And I was in the hole every single year. We're talking about buying food, buying breakfast, buying lunch, buying dinner. And I'm not talking about just on a normal school day. I'm talking about buying, not having the money to buy your team, coming in on Thursday morning to practice on Thanksgiving morning for a playoff game in the 4th round, and having to buy your kids breakfast just so they have, they get a little excited about being at practice on Thanksgiving morning. I spent a tremendous, I was in the era before Huddle and before we could make all these highlight tapes. And I went out and bought stacks of VCRs and made VCR tapes and mailed them, spent them my whole money. Everybody wants to wonder why, we got so many players into college. When I was at Butler, I was sending out highlight tapes before people were making highlight tapes. I was sitting there press and record, press and pause and record, and all that, making highlight tapes for kids and sending them out to college on my own dime. You never know how much it costs to mail out a VHS tape every single week. And multiple, I'm talking carts of them, boxes full of CMS, full of VHS tapes. Just the amount of rides that you give to kids and to getting them to and from practice. Man, the tough things, like we talked about the kids from E. Smith dying, and God rest their soul, and bless E. Smith for that. But having to take players that have passed away, to their home, and having to take parents, being asked to be pallbearers at parents' funerals, being with kids when they're sick, watching kids when they're sick, going to hospitals and visiting kids, when they're injured and whatnot. The amount of time I didn't get married. My wife would tell it. I didn't win a state championship till I got married, but I was, 35 years old before I got married, and I stayed single for a long time through the first bit of my career. And luckily I was, because I don't think anybody would have put up with me, because every single weekend I was going to Clemson, or I was going to Catawba, or I was going to Mars Hill, or, Wake Forest or something, taking the kids to games, or during the spring, taking kids all over the country to camps. Steve Shaughnessy and I drove, I don't know how many people to Michigan football camp every single summer. All on our own kind of dime. They're paying for our own gas money and whatnot, and driving to Michigan every single year, taking anywhere from 2 kids to a trailway bus full of kids to Michigan football camp. People have no idea, paying for kids to go to summer camp, having a kid that was a prospect, but parents couldn't afford to send them to camp, and you're paying $50 here, $50 there to go to camp. It is unbelievable the amount of money that coaches put into their teams in order to not win a football game, but just to help one kid be successful. Help one kid, help a kid here, help a kid there. And we do it for very little compensation. And I'd say that most coaches would say it's not about the compensation, but it does feel nice to be compensated when you do something and you work extremely hard at it. The other thing that CMS, I think it'd be tough to do, but just like the playoffs, reward people for being in the playoffs a little bit. And now about everybody makes the playoffs, but each round of the playoffs, reward guys a little bit. Tommy Knotts and I used to talk about every time we'd play in the semifinals of the state playoffs every other year. And so he was playing 15 games or 16 games, and I was playing 14, 15 games every year and not getting an extra dime. He coached, you think about 7 years that he went to 6 extra games or 5 extra games for 7 years. And that's 3 seasons worth of football games that he worked for free. That's a lot. That's a lot. And all they're asking is for a fair compensation. I don't think they're asking, guys down in Georgia and Alabama are making $100,000 a year. There's some, I saw some list, 25, 30 guys in Georgia making over $100,000. And I don't think guys in North Carolina are asking for $100,000, but just a fair compensation for what they're doing. They take $100,000. We'd all take it, but but I do think a lot of people don't want to fight for us or fight for coaches because they think we are making $100,000. I left Butler, I made $45,000. That's what I made a year. $45,000, won 2 state championships and made $45,000 a year. That's coaching stipend and everything. And now it's a little more because they've given teacher raises and some other things, but coaching stipends haven't changed a whole bunch.
Well, that's $45,000 while working in Mecklenburg County, which is one of the more expensive places to live, just like the Triangle is. I mean, I don't see how teachers can make it these days unless you have 2 or 3 jobs. Yeah,
most of them work a double job, and that's another thing that I said. I said, why can't the state? The local governments, and this is, I'll get off on one of my solutions to the problems that I've said is the local governments give a teaching supplement, right? So Charlotte Mecklenburg Schools gives a teaching supplement that is, more than your teaching pay, and it's one of the highest in the state. It is, I think, Wake County's highest, and I think Charlotte Mecklenburg is the second highest local teaching supplement, and it's a nice teaching supplement. I mean, my wife, when she went from teaching in Kannapolis to going back to CMS, she was in CMS, come to Kannapolis with me, then went back to CMS. It was about a $10,000 raise for her to go back to CMS just because of the local supplements, about $10,000 more. And so I've often said, well, why, if the local governments can give a teaching supplement, why can't the state? Because one thing the state would say, we can't give teachers, if we give a 2%, if they give a 2% raise, it costs the state like $100 million worth of tax money to give just a 2% raise. And a 2% raise on a teacher's salary is maybe about $25 a month. Really and truly, it comes out to be about $25 a month.
Well, here's the thing for you. Like back 15 years ago when you were winning your first state championship at Butler, our tax rates was essentially about was a progressive tax rate. It went from 6% to 7% to 8.25%. Now this year it's 4.75%.
Yeah,
and we're talking about income tax. Here's a novel thing. Let's raise the income tax 0.25%. Tar and feather me all you want to, but I think our teachers are worth it. And I think our kids are worth it. Right. If not, we're going to lose a lot of good talent to other schools or other states.
We're already losing those. But one thing I said is why can't the state then? If they can't give all the teachers a humongous raise, why don't we give the like I said, the coaches and how much extra they do? Why don't we why can't the state give a coaching supplement raise? Right. Yeah. So you take every single person now, first of all, you'd have to work in the school. You couldn't be a lay coach. You couldn't be someone that comes in and coaches in the afternoon. You'd have to work within the school. I'd be a certified teacher in the school. But every certified teacher in the school that coaches a sport, that basically you get $1,000 supplement from the state on top of what you get from your local government. Now, if you take a coach now, he coaches 3 sports, right? He coaches 3, that's $3,000. If you take that 10-month salary, right? 10-month salary, that's $100, that's $300 a month that added to that person's stipend or that person's pay. That's significant now. $300 is significant. That's a car payment sometimes for a lot of people. That's a partial rent payment there, partial mortgage payment. So that'd be significant right there. And then so you take that and you give that to all the coaches, right, across the board. I've never understood why we can't do that and that be part of your teaching pay and help coaches out that way. For the state to give a local or give a coaching supplement. But I know that kind of would. But there's got to be some emphasis on what coaches do. Then it's going to help you get teachers, because I think sometimes we get people that get out of the teaching profession because the pay is so bad. And then you go get that one person that says, well, I'll coach tennis now. I'll coach tennis. I'm going to get another $1,000 for coaching tennis. I'll coach tennis. I get my local supplement plus another $1,000 from the state to coach tennis. I'll be a tennis coach. I'll be the golf coach. Right. And then you get people, instead of going to wait tables after school, maybe stay around and work with kids in a coaching in some sort of coaching capacity. And I don't know. I've always often said we need educational coaches too. So not only guys that go out and work at an athletic, but an educational coach, and maybe have every single sports season, fall, winter, and spring, you had like an educational coach, someone that tutored kids afternoon. You had a kid on the football team and a volleyball team and a tennis team that needed some extra tutoring, and they went to that coach. And that coach just helped them in school, and give that coach a stipend as well. Right. I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that can be done, but I think we just overlook sometimes and just think, well, coaches will do it. I did have one time And the grass mowing, people don't forget about the grass mowing that a lot of coaches do. And luckily a lot of them's got turf now, but the amount of grass that I mowed was ridiculous. But I had a assistant superintendent of schools one time that talked to me about how much grass I was mowing for free. I didn't get paid any money to do it, but we were paying a company. The CMS was paying a company to mow the grass. And so my principal at the time asked this assistant superintendent, could we use that money to pay the coaches instead of paying this company that wasn't mowing the grass? We getting paid for it. And they said, well, you got a coach that's mowing the grass for free. And he said, well, yeah. And he said, why don't we just save the money and let that coach keep mowing it for free?
Yeah.
And that's what they feel about it.
Just out of curiosity, though, whenever you were in Concord, do you have to bet on the skies? Because, I mean, shortly, like a few years after you got to A.L. Brown, Concord stopped winning that game. I just kept on thinking of.
They won twice. I was a part of winning it. Now we won it 10 years in a row, and I was a part of actually 11 years in a row this year, and I was a part of the 9. I started that streak at 9. So, I think I've won it. Let's say I lost it twice. So out of my 14 years, I think I won it 12 out of the 14 years.
The reason I was thinking about that, we were talking about mowing grass in 2015 is when the year that you the streak started, and now it's 11 years. That year it rained and rained and rained. Concord was nothing more than just a mud pit. Yeah. There was no grass on that. I mean, I don't know what they did. I mean, you couldn't cut mud, I think they had to paint grass and paint lines and everything. That was the ugliest field I've ever seen.
Well, luckily they got turf now. See, Cabarrus County's done a great job of getting all their fields turf. They got to help Northwest Cabarrus out, and they've done a great job. Butler's field looks awesome now with the turf on it. Was very much needed. I think they need to get in and do some of the rest of the schools. I mean, it just makes the school, it makes it so much better when you got that field that's turf that gets used so much. Right. A lot of controversy about the turf, but the people don't understand how much a high school field gets used way more than what a professional field does.
Did you get a chance to see Kitty Griner's?
I wanted you to pull that back up if you could, or read that to me. I saw because Kitty Griner's one of the greatest moms I've ever known in my life. So you forgot to mention the moms like me that would take up your time worried about their sons. On it now, sorry. Yeah, you're right. I mean, but that's one of the greatest moms ever, and love her son. I'm so proud to be able to tell people all the time that Sam Griner is the head coach at West Charlotte and was one of my players at one time. So Kitty Griner is awesome lady. I didn't see that other one there.
Yeah, we don't need to see that.
No.
I think it was an accident.
Coach, you might have taught one of my cousins at Butler High School. I had 2 cousins who went to Butler.
Yeah.
Amy Hutton and Catherine Hutton.
I know them very well. Yep. Okay. I remember them. Yep. Sure do.
Okay. I got you. They're second cousins.
Yep. It's amazing. A lot of I got to teach science, but the science that I taught, a lot of kids did not take. A lot of kids went on to chemistry and physics, but
biology.
I taught physical science, so half chemistry, half physics. But it wasn't. A lot of the kids that were taking would take chemistry or would take physics instead of taking physical science.
Just out of curiosity, could you teach? Were you certified to teach math at all, or?
I wasn't. I had a special. I don't know. It actually happened by accident. I know what happened, but it's a long story. But I was actually certified to. I had one of the old, what was called a general science certification. So now people are certified to teach, strictly biology or strictly, earth science or right. Physics or chemistry. I had a science a degree where I could teach any science. I was certified to teach anything: physics, chemistry, physical science. But I got to teach physical science every single year that I taught, which really made it easy for me because by the end of even 10 years into my career, physical science, the curriculum never did change. And so I didn't have to do a whole lot of work to get ready for physical science class. I could go teach physical science right now. I could teach you electron configuration and balancing chemical equations in the periodic table right now without any problem, without any notes. But one thing that I was for a long time at Butler High School, I was the only physical science teacher that taught that class. Well, you were graded by your test scores, and it come to Butler. Butler was the test. The scores would come to Butler. But since I was the only teacher teaching that subject, and that was my classes, and for 10 years in a row, I had the highest physical science EOC scores in the county, in Charlotte-Mecklenburg County. So on top of being a pretty good football coach, I think I was a pretty good science teacher too.
Sounds like it. Definitely sounds like it. And the reason I asked about that, I attended North Stanley, graduated in '89, and a lot of our physical science teachers also taught math.
A lot of math involved in it. A lot of math.
And I'm a math major or statistics major, and now I'm just a washed up accountant. So
that's what I see. Anyway, that's how you knew about all those tax stuff. I needed to be talking to you about all that tax stuff.
I'm a CPA, but not a very good one. So
help me. Now that I'm in retirement, I need some help with my taxes now. I'm getting killed by taxes now.
No hablo inglés. No hablo inglés.
I always told my sister, she was always complaining about how much she had to pay in taxes. I said, people pay a lot in taxes, make too much money. And then and now with retirement, and I've got a great new job now that really does me well, and so I'm having to pay more taxes than a poor old ex-school teacher football coach should ever have to pay.
Tell everybody what you're coaching right now.
Yeah, well, they dragged me out of retirement. We had a game today. I'm coaching middle school. My son plays at Bailey Middle School there next to Huff, and so I'm the defensive coordinator for the Bailey Middle School Broncos. And middle school is something else. I don't know. I don't know if I could ever wish my son to be out of middle school fast enough. I did help coach like the Pop Warner team that he played on for a couple years. But, that was just a lot of fun. But middle school, I find myself getting a little more serious than what I claim to be. But I told some of the coaches, Coach Hales and some of them, that I coached my first middle school game, was the defensive coordinator. We played a game. We didn't give up a first down. That's pretty good as a defense coordinator, not give up a first down.
Wow. Yeah.
We still lost 14-0. Had a fumble recovery for a touchdown and an interception for a touchdown. So that's the way middle school goes, man.
How many kids get to say in middle school they had not just a state championship coach, but a state championship coach at the highest level of the state?
A multi-state championship.
A multi-state. Yeah.
The problem is that happened so long ago. These kids weren't even born at that time, so they don't know or don't care. They just know I yell at them too much.
But do you ever feel like Peyton Manning in the United Way commercials? It's like, get back in there, shut that door.
It's a lot of fun, and I don't know if my son really appreciates me coaching him, because I am probably hard. I am harder on him than anybody else on our team. And I hold him accountable to a lot more than probably what I should hold him accountable to. But I am enjoying myself a lot, getting to coach my son and getting to be around my son and his teammates and his team. It is a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I've learned in youth football, and this being a considered youth football, and I wish it was a lot different, that still too many people put emphasis on winning games, and I think we ought to be just trying to figure out how to make it fun for these kids.
So I do want to have you back next week.
Okay.
To talk about your favorite play.
My favorite play. We talked about that the other night, didn't we?
Exactly, and maybe do that a few more times. But I would like to. We just didn't have time tonight.
We didn't have time. This is a big subject, and it's a very important subject, and probably not one to have that same conversation with. I do think that people need to advocate for not only the coaches, but teachers in general. I think we got to start looking out for them. We're losing teachers by the droves. We already very, very high turnover rate in teaching. We got some of our biggest state colleges that have dropped education majors because people just aren't doing it. We got to figure out a way to pay teachers more money. Or I tell people this, nothing against our law enforcement and nothing against our firemen and law enforcement. Nothing at all. I love those guys. Got plenty of people. Chief of police lives right down the street from me. Chief of police in Kannapolis, great friend of mine. His son played for me. His son, I hired him as a coach. He still coaches at Kannapolis now. But so nothing against them. But a police officer can get out of school or not even have a college degree, and in several years on a police force be making way more than what a teacher will make after working 30 years. What other profession? The state of North Carolina, you work for 25 years, and a lot of people don't get this, work for 25 years, and your highest level of pay at 25 years is $55,000.
Right.
What other profession do you have to have degree? You have to have a college degree. You have to have a certification. You have to have a certification to do it on top of your college degree, and you have to get continuing education credits in order to keep that certification. What other profession do you have to do that in that you only make $55,000 at the highest level?
In my profession, you can be working with my profession for 7-8 years and make twice that much. That's just ridiculous. It just shows where we don't have it have our priorities set. I was going to say, guys, I know we'll have to come back to next week to continue. Let's just go over some of the standings real quick and just kind of look at stuff here. Over in Wake County, or I almost said the Triangle, big games here. Jordan and Panther Creek. Jordan's going to win that game. I have no problem, no thoughts about, or no doubt about that. Not really any games really to look at there. Jordan's the big one in the Quad City 7. Friendship's a good team, but they're kind of open date this week. Enloe at Millbrook. I've been asked, does Enloe have anything for Millbrook? I think it's going to be a running clock. I'm going to say it's probably 4 or 5 touchdowns win for Millbrook. Leaves Road, Corinth Holders. I don't think it'll be that close either. I'll tell you what, let's go on down to the next line here. Cleveland and Southeast Raleigh, that was one of my big games. I do think Cleveland's going to win that game, but that's a game to definitely look at. Should be a pretty close one. Talking about an ugly game, Northern Durham at Chapel Hill. One time Northern Durham 30-some years ago was the team nobody wanted to face. They'd go to a championship game, regional game, and now they're struggling just to win a game. So Hillside, Southern Durham, that should be a decent game. Cardinal Greek Gibbons at Middle Creek. I do think Gibbons is going to come out, but it should be a pretty good game. And Knightdale, Wake Forest. Wake Forest should win that game. Really not much to look at in the Mecklenburg County area. I'll tell you what, Union Pines. I love Brian Till. He's one of my favorite coaches. He should win again against Triton. Let's see here. Hornet Central, Lee County. That could be a pretty good game. I'd probably go with Lee by a few points. That big 7, 4A, 5A, this is where I live, and it is coyote ugly. South Granville is probably your best team, and they're playing Seaforth this week. South Granville should win that game. Let's see, 3 River, 4A. A lot of teams like to beat up on each other. West Craven is the cream of the crop on that in that conference, and they should handle North Lenoir pretty well. Going to the Quad County 2A, 3A, 4A. Lewisburg, they're undefeated, and they should remain undefeated. They should beat Roanoke Rapids with relative ease. Bund and Northern at Nash Central. Nash is due to win a game. I wouldn't doubt if Nash Central wins that game. James Keenan, that is the team to look at on this conference, the Swan Valley. Love that name, Swan Valley, 2A, 3A. They should beat CB Aycock, should roll on pretty good. Let's see here. Kind of looking around here. Spring Creek, Wallace Rose Hill. Wallace Rose Hill should win by running score. Don't know enough about Ravenscroft or any of the private schools to give you a good idea. I know Cary Christian's a good team. And my guess is they'll beat Faith Christian. Gosh, we got some more here. Quick ones here. Myers Park, West Mecklenburg. You think West Mecklenburg can keep it within a running clock, Dale?
No, unfortunately. Okay. I don't. To be honest with you, if you're looking for a competitive game, the
Chambers-
Garinger Hopewell might be out of the greater Charlotte.
Yeah.
That might be the most competitive game. And unfortunately, the other two games,
Not looking
it's
at
gonna
that.
be tough. Yeah, that's gonna be tough for our buddy Joe Evans.
That Power 6 game, that Chambers North Mech, I think that's going to be a close one.
That'll be a competitive game too. Yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yeah, I
I think
think
that'll
it's-
be a competitive game. As
Mile Creek and
As I-
Independence.
yeah, and I hope all games are competitive, period. That's what I tell every coach before every game. I know Sam's gotten upset a few times. We walked up on me talking to another coach, and he heard me say, yeah, I hope this is a last-second game. But then I'm thinking about that with the West Charlotte Butler game.
Hey, no, I mean, I
hope that's a good game.
That game right there, me and my wife and son, we'll be at that game and to see Sam. Get to see Sam come home but once a Bulldog, always a Bulldog, baby. Let's go.
Coach,
Sam will make a good mother-in-law one day.
You're gonna love that field. It's awesome.
So Providence Palisades, you think Providence has anything for Palisades? I think Palisades is going to win that game, but just curious.
No, that could be a good ball game. But
where's that one at?
Really
Palisades.
That's going to be at Palisades.
Okay.
I do think Palisades got a really good team, and I think out of this conference, I don't know. East Mecklenburg and Rocky River could be competitive. We'll see our picks in a moment.
That should be a pretty good one. Going down the Greater Metro 6A, 7A, I like A.L. Brown over Hickory Ridge, and Central Cabarrus, Donnie Kiefer, he's one of my favorite guys. I think he'll win against Berry Academy. Coxville, West Cabarrus, that could be a pretty good game.
That's actually probably one of the closest games. Well, you'll see when we get our pick'ems up. That was when I looked at this game. Wow.
I think I have West Cabarrus favored by like 1 point. I mean, it's going to be a close one. That Harding Olympic, the other game there. Big South, I'll let you do those, Dale, because
so a question was asked: Do I think that the Charlotte Latin and Providence State game will be a good ball game? No, I hate to say that, but you guys can go. You go put it up in the locker room. I don't care. Play this back. I hope something can motivate you because unfortunately, I think you're going to need some motivation. Providence Day is just too good of a ball team. Charlotte Christian and Country Day, that could be an interesting game, but I tend to believe that's Charlotte Christian would win that game, but will win that game. But that could be more. That'll be more competitive game, I think.
In the Southern Carolina 6A, 7A conference, I have Catholic over Marvin Ridge. I have Sun Valley beating Piedmont. Weddington beating whoever they play, which this week is Porter Ridge. Any difference?
No, if any of these games are highly competitive, it would be the Marvin Ridge Catholic, but I don't even, I picked Catholic in that game. So
that may be the toughest, most solid conference in North Carolina, right there.
Right.
It's definitely a tough conference. Yeah.
Union County's great. That's a great football conference. It's a great one. Oh, Lake Norman and North Iredale. I'll take Lake Norman. Morrisville should beat Davie. And South Iredale at Statesville, I'll take Statesville. Any difference on that, Dale?
No, I stick with those myself.
Don't sleep on Davie County now. Coach up there do a good job. Coach Henson up there will have them ready to play.
Not sleeping on them. I think it could be a competitive game, but
nothing against Mooresville. I mean, they
favor
do a good job there too.
A long time ago, I used to go to a little town called Coolamy over in Davie County.
I know Coolamy.
Yeah.
The Big South, Ashbrook over Forest Hills. I have South Point. Actually, that South Point Kings Mountain game could be a really good one. I'm going to take South Point in that one. Crest over North Gaston. Dale, I got to ask you, who do you have between Kings Mountain and South Point?
Okay, so first, I know it was a slip of the tongue. Forest View. You said Forest Hills.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Kings Mountain, South Point. I'm favoring South Point. Honestly, that game, because it's at South Point, that's close to me. I thought about going to that game. I'm right now. I'm going to go to the Palisades Providence game, but I think that Kings Mountain South Point game's got potential to be a very good football game.
Right.
And Port North Gaston's got to go to Crest. That's
Well, Southwest Dale strikes again.
Did I?
I got Monroe beating Anson County, Mount Pleasant over Parkwood, and Forest Hills over West Stanley.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Northwest Cabarrus over Concord. East Rowan, they've kind of brought it up recently, but I'm gonna take Jesse Carson over East Rowan. South Rowan and Salisbury, that's gonna be a pretty decent game, to be honest with you. Salisbury is really in the dumps right now.
Yeah, it's not Salisbury. Yeah.
I'll take Salisbury just to be kind, but they're really struggling. And J.M. Robinson will be all over West Rowan.
Yeah.
That J.M. Robinson Northwest Cabarrus game last week of the season, I think is going to be a great game. I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but that's going to be a big one.
Let's see here. Fred T. Ford at Bunker Hill. That's just going to be an ugly game no matter what. I think I'll take Bunker Hill. I think they can score a little bit better than Ford. Hickory at East Lincoln. Okay, I got to act like I'm really serious here so I can have something. I just don't see Hickory competing with East Lincoln. I just really don't see it. I just don't see how they can compete with the Mustangs. Dale, tell me I'm crazy or tell me I'm right.
Unfortunately, you let it in wrong. I think that's going to be an awesome football game.
Yeah, I do too. I can't even be serious when I say that.
That's one of those games that can go either way. And my guess is if these teams played each other 10 times, they might split 5. They might go 5-5. Coach Newsom, what do you think about that game?
There's some great coaches in that game. It's going to come down. It's going to come down to who wants it the most, and playing at when I don't always put a lot of emphasis on home and away, but when you get in places like that, like East Lincoln, I mean they're going to shut the town down. That's going to fill up. There's going to be a lot of green and orange in the stands all around. But I don't count Joe Glass out of anything now. Coach Beam, he's I know their offensive coordinator, or I think he's offensive coach there, playing at East Lincoln. I know he does a tremendous job with the offense. But I can't go against my boy Joe Glass.
So you're picking Hickory.
I'm gonna pick Hickory every time.
Okay, gotcha.
I've seen them work too hard. They're dang tough now.
Yeah, they are a tough team on that. I got I'm picking East Lincoln in that game. I know it could go either way, just like Dale said. Dale, who you got in that game between East Lincoln and Hickory?
We'll see in a moment.
Okay,
I think our picks will be up after this.
Okay. South Piedmont 2A, 3A, 4A got Burns over Cherville. West Lincoln over Highland Tech. Lincolnton over Stuart Kramer. I think that's going to be a pretty good game, to be honest with you. Stuart Kramer's nothing to sneeze at. And Shelby over East Gaston.
Yeah, I don't disagree with picks.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to take Corvian over Community School.
Yeah.
Take Lake Norman Charter over Langtree Charter. I'm going to go with Christ the King over Pine Lake Prep. I think Christ the King might be one of those teams that are kind of under the radar in 2A.
Okay.
I'm going to take Union Academy over Albemarle. Mountain Island Charter over Bonnie Cone. I got to go with North Rowan over my alma mater, North Stanley. North Stanley had an ugly loss last week, and South Stanley over Thomas Jefferson. I have no idea about this Big Five, Dale. If you got any idea, just let me know.
Well, actually, everything is remaining is private. I'm just looking to see what might be big games. Man, there's some tough games there.
You know, Christ School used to have a really good team. I believe that's over in Arden. Is that correct? Arden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's where, if you're a NASCAR fan, that's where Dave Marcus lives.
My physical, so I have 2 physical therapists, doctors, one for my shoulder, one for my spine. And the spine therapist, they play lacrosse. Her son plays lacrosse. She's from Fort Mill, but she sent her son up to Arden to go to school up there. Gotcha. Let's see if we can look at those observer picks this week. So,
oh, look at that! Was one person picked North Mac over Chambers. I picked Chambers to win that game, but that was one of those things I thought could go either way.
There's actually 2 people that picked North Mac.
Yeah, 2 people. Huh?
Yeah, Kristen.
No limit.
You know, I don't know what's going. I don't know if there's anything going on at Chambers right now. They started out the season well. I mean, they beat Clover, and things have not gone quite as well. I did get to see North Mac play Butler last Friday night, and I don't know. Just based on what I saw and what I think Chambers should have, that's why I picked Chambers.
Well, look at you. You picked Hickory or East Lincoln over Hickory.
Yes, I did. Because
this is what we need to do. Somebody needs to send the screenshot directly to Joe Glass.
Listen, I think this is a game that if it's played at Hickory, I would have picked Hickory. I think it's going to be a 1 score. I think it's going to be inside. When I say 1 score, you know, I've mentioned this before. I usually mean 7 points or less. And I think there's going to be well within a 1 score game. This really could be one of those games that the last team with the ball could win this ball game. That could be who wins this ball game. I think it'll be
that kind of game. Gotcha.
Yeah, that kind of game. So there's some good football this week. Our score switched off, but if we could look at that West Cabarrus, if you don't mind bringing it back up, West Cabarrus and Cox Mill. I just want to see what everybody else did. Most everybody else picked West Cabarrus.
Yeah, it's going to be a close one, though. That's going to be a close one. I can see that game going Cox Mill's way. Well, exactly. Mike, I really appreciate you being on the show tonight. I don't know if you knew you were signing up for this long of time here. I will say, Dale.
Hang on. Before we go signing off, Karen
I was going to give you a chance to your final thoughts, but go ahead.
We'll do that in a minute here. Karen Belk's like, I picked Mallard Creek, or somebody, people picked Mallard Creek. I think that's going to be a good ball game, but I don't know. I've seen Mallard Creek. The physicality, if we look at how people picked, most people picked Mallard Creek. And I just think it's the physicality of Mallard Creek. I think Andy's going to have – Mallard Creek's not slow, so not to make it out that Mallard Creek's a slow team. Mallard Creek's got speed on their team as well, but they're a physical team. I picked up Mallard Creek and myself, just for my justification to pick, but I see some other people picked as well. Coach Newsom, what do you think about that game?
It's I'm kind of biased because Mallard Creek's one of my customers, so I love Mallard Creek. But also Coach Merritt that coached with me at A.L. Brown is there, and Coach Tinsley. But I love DJ McFadden too. But it's hard, it's hard for a Butler guy to pick Independence. So, that's just it's kind of hurts my heart to even think about that. But I do think out of the two teams now, if I watched Independence play West Charlotte, and if Independence plays anybody the way that their first drive was against West Charlotte, they can beat anybody in the state if they play that first drive the whole game. Because they took it right down to West Charlotte easily. It was. I thought it was going to be a much better game than what it ended up being. And if they can play like that, it'll be tough for anybody to beat them. But you're right, Dale. Mallard Creek is extremely physical. They're as big a team as I've seen as far as just physical size. I like their big guys to be a little more athletic. And you're talking about speed now. I mean, they got. State champion track runners all over the dang field. Mm-hmm. They can roll. So Triggerman, their quarterback, I think they've had some injury there and all that stuff. So that kind of hurt them some. But if they can get the ball in the athlete's hands, it's hard to shut them down. And then when they want to mash you, they can mash you too.
Right.
So, see, Coach, I'm a big fan of DJ. I knew DJ when he was a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
He was over at Olympic with us. I love that kid. I think he's a great coach. You mentioned that first drive. One of the things that gets talked about a lot amongst the Talking Preps people is DJ scripts games maybe better than anybody. So he's got a script to at least his first series, and who knows if it's a 10-play script or how deep that script is, but he does game plan very well. Not to say he can't make in-game adjustments, but that what you saw in that first series is kind of one of what everybody thinks is his hallmark.
Well, Dale, tell you what, let's go ahead and wrap up here because we've been on here for about 2 hours, and I know that our producers would like for us to go ahead and have you do your final thoughts for tonight.
Just my thoughts are I'm glad you came on with us, Coach Newsom.
I appreciate you having me. Yep.
The points that you raised about CMS, just coaching in general, and the CMS situation, the situation of ignoring. We heard that from Tommy Knotts. It's good to hear it from you that you were ignored by CMS in your accomplishments. That's a shame. Two of the, you got to think that Mallard Creek probably also faced the same situation, right? So our top programs that are doing well for our high school athletes are getting ignored. So Coach Knott saw it, you saw it, I'm sure Coach Palmieri saw it. And, guys, CMS, you got to pay attention to what's going on. These guys are so important. Yeah, I don't think you understand how important athletics in general is to a school, to the student body, to the motivation of the student body, school spirit. All of that's important in getting kids to want to come to school, not just the athletes, but the other students within the school. So, again, thank you, Coach Newsom, for coming on to talk about it. Hopefully we can get something addressed.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I really appreciate you coming on here. I don't think we've ever really got to talk that much in the past, maybe a tweet here or there, but it was nice to hang out with you for a few hours.
Absolutely. I would say this, Billy Graham said, and I know we've all heard the quote, but a coach will impact more lives in one single season than the average person will in a lifetime. And I think that kind of sums up what coaches do.
Next Wednesday, can we talk about our favorite play?
29G, Buck Sweep. Yeah, sure.
Do you want to maybe get some stuff drawn up? Unfortunately, we can't do like Madden and have you draw live, but
you can do this number here with your hands, though, like you used to do. And
We can figure something out.
Maybe have something.
Yeah.
I thought Coach Hales was going to come back. Coach Hales says he loves the play too.
Oh, well, so, I mean, yeah, we talked. Well, we were drawing plays on the backside of a napkin today.
So maybe we can have a little more discussion about that play. Let people understand what it is and how important that play can be. Because every time I'm in, getting down to that 15-yard line, I start thinking, boy, I'd run a buck sweep right here.
Well, we'll do the buck sweep next week.
Coach Hales is still trying to beat people with it, so we can't give away all the secrets.
I hear you, Coach.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for coming in here. Please catch up with us on Friday night at 11 o'clock. We'll have a post-game discussion, and also we'll have Talking Preps will come back on Tuesday around 8 o'clock, and Talking Preps Plus, which is what we were on here, will be 8:30 next Wednesday. So thank you so much from Jim West, Dale Ross, and Mike Newsom, and countless others. Thank you for joining in. Take care.
Talking Preps OT.